joining us. So the U.S. has been encouraging Israel to delay a full ground invasion in order to make an effort to get all 230, I think it is, hostages out. Israel has, of course, announced the second phase of the war and is launching more attacks in the Gaza Strip from air and also from land. Does the intelligence suggest that a delay would hurt Israel's goals to destroy Hamas?
Yeah, obviously I can't get into the actual intelligence documents itself, but it is a very complicated issue where Hamas has about 500 miles worth of tunnels underneath all of that area in Gaza. So it's a very complicated environment to be able to hide hostages. Right now, Israel is trying to be able to bombard some of those areas they know where there is Hamas fighters, where there are leadership, and where there are key, both whether ammunition depot, missile storage, or obviously where their military typically functions underground. But going after hostages is incredibly difficult in an urban environment because no one knows where they are. Hamas is obviously trickling them out, trying to prevent anyone. But if you stop right now and if you pause, it gives opportunity for Hamas to dig in more and to be able to lay more booby traps. So it is a judgment call that has to be made on the ground based on intelligence right now. It also has to be an issue of the United States positioning more and more missile defense systems, as we've already seen the Houthis actually launch guided precision missiles from Yemen towards Israel that our forces were able to take out on their way in. So we've seen that. This is an ongoing issue, not only to pre-position more missile defense, but also to watch out for hostages.
A lot of the families of the hostages are very worried that the ground incursion might result in them never seeing their loved ones again. Is that a reasonable concern, do you think?
Yeah, that's a reasonable concern for anyone. The folks that are the families and the friends of these hostages, everyone has great compassion for them and pain for them. These are folks that were just at their homes, at music events, at other places where they were snatched away and kidnapped. So everyone is very concerned for them. The challenge is, what's the right way to be able to go get them? How do you actually go do that? How long are they going to be used as a pawn? What is Hamas going to do? We've already seen their ruthlessness. What are they going to do in the meantime to those individuals? So there's a priority to go after those individuals to make sure they can get to them and to be able to rescue them, which obviously Israel's done many times to go rescue hostages. But there's a priority to also make sure Hamas doesn't come back on our ground forces. As you've seen there on the ground, multiple missile attacks from Gaza every single moment where they continue to be able to attack Israel over and over again. So it's not as if they have paused. They certainly continue to be able to fight.
The U.S. carried out airstrikes targeting two facilities linked to Iranian-backed militias in eastern Syria this week in response to attacks on U.S. service members. You've been calling on the Biden administration to stand up to Iran and Iranian-backed militias more strongly. Are you satisfied with the response, or do you think President Biden needs to do more?
I think President Biden's very focused on not trying to escalate the war. That's a good thing, to not escalate the war into a regional conflict. But the problem is Iran only understands force. Iran has attacked the United States 19 times in just the last 2 weeks. And I think most Americans don't know that Iranian forces, Shia militants, whether it be the Houthis from Yemen or whether it be in Iraq or in Syria, they're finding ways to go attack American forces. We've had multiple of our forces that have been injured in those attacks. The United States is finally pushing back on those Shia militants and on Iran to be able to make it clear we are going to stand up for ourselves in this to be able to stop it. I know the administration is trying to be able to keep this separate. Unfortunately, there's no way to actually separate Iran attacking the United States while Iran is also facilitating the attack of Israel as well at the same time. They are connected.
The Israeli government and the Israel Defense Forces claim that Hamas puts command and control centers underneath hospitals. Specifically, they're talking about Gaza's biggest hospital. No one disputes that the hospitals have in them patients, doctors, nurses, and individuals seeking shelter. Have you seen intelligence suggesting that that is true, that Hamas uses these hospitals, including Gaza's largest hospital, as command control centers, either in the hospitals or underneath them? Is that something that you believe to be true?
Actually, again, I can't go into the actual intelligence documents that are out there, but it's long been noted that Hamas uses schools, they use mosques, they use hospitals to actually hide underneath. They have tunnel systems that are underneath these different facilities where they can hide fighters, they can hide weapon systems or ammunition stashes, because they know they can use people in these locations as human shields and as locations that they can use for propaganda to be able to hide out. They know the Israelis will fight morally, though Hamas is not fighting morally. Hamas can step in and can slaughter 1,400 people while they're sleeping in their beds, and they hold Israel to a higher standard to say you won't go after a hospital. And even when Hamas itself actually launched out rockets and actually struck one of their own hospitals, they blamed Israel for that, which has been well documented now that that was actually a rocket that was actually fired from within Gaza that hit one of their own hospitals. But again, they'll blame Israel for any of that. Israel needs to be restrained in going after Hamas and protecting civilians, as they have been, but Hamas needs to separate their weapon systems from civilian locations.
Congress is now facing the question as to whether to pass President Biden's request for $150 billion in support for Israel, for Ukraine, for Taiwan, the southern border, and some other issues. The new House Speaker, Mike Johnson, has repeatedly voted against aid for Ukraine. Donald Trump said last night that Ukraine aid and Israel aid should be uncoupled. Would you be okay with that, or do you think it should all remain tied together?
I would take it either way that we can actually get it at this point. If Israel aid comes over initially, we've still got larger debates that have got to happen on the issue of our own southern border. Quite frankly, the Biden administration, they sent over some additional requests for funding for our southern border because so many of us have said, hey, we're working on defending other nations. We're vulnerable in our nation. We've had 70,000 people in the last 2 years that have crossed our southern border that have been released in the United States that the administration calls special interest aliens. These are individuals, most of them fighting-age men from Iran, from Iraq, from Syria, from other war-torn areas that have crossed into our border and have been released. We continue to be able to challenge and say we've got to do more than just identify these individuals and release them into the country. They can't be just released. So the administration has asked for additional funding. Unfortunately, the funding that they've asked for actually facilitates faster movement across the border rather than actually deterring people. So we've got to actually have a change in policy on how we're going to handle parole, how we're going to handle asylum, the most basic elements to deter people, not facilitate faster movement. So there's a lot to still be done in that time. Israel, we've got to be able to respond quickly on. The other areas we've got to be able to resolve to make sure we're securing the United States while we're also securing other countries as well.
All right, Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your time.
You bet, thanks.
The last Republican vice president, Mike Pence, has just suspended his presidential campaign. What does that say about his party? Presidential hopeful Chris Christie joins me next.
Tonight, Anderson Cooper reports on the brutal attack on kibbutz near Oz.
You can tell gunmen tried to pry this door open.
And the heartbreaking stories of the survivors and the missing.
I'm devastated.
The whole story with Anderson Cooper, tonight at 10 on CNN.
I wish for the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro.
Sean, do you mean this one, the one with titanium? Switch to Verizon and get iPhone 15 Pro on them.
Wow.
Get iPhone 15 Pro, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All three on us. Only on Verizon.
Meet Martha. Martha is 75 years old and has been on Medicare for 10 years now. But she's a bit cranky because she heard the 2024 Medicare Advantage plans are now available during the Medicare annual enrollment period. And she wants details.
I'm already on Medicare. Why should I call and check up on my Medicare plan?
Hi, Martha. Plans and benefits can change each and every year. That's why it's important to call to get your free 2024 Medicare benefits checkup.
I already have my Medicare card. I am not calling.
Martha, right now is the Medicare annual enrollment period. 2024 Medicare Advantage plans are now available, so everyone on Medicare can call to see if a Medicare Advantage plan may be better for you. You can even call to see if there are any changes to your current Medicare plan in the coming year.
They probably won't answer the phone.
Well, Martha, if you call 800-882-0987, a licensed insurance agent will speak with you and look up your plan options and see if there is a plan that will better fit your healthcare needs.
Why don't I get these automatically?
Martha, 2024 plans are now available, but you won't get a 2024 Medicare Advantage plan automatically.
I think I called before. so I'm not calling.
Martha, right now is the Medicare annual enrollment period. 2024 plans are now available, so now's the time to call. So everyone on Medicare should call now during the Medicare annual enrollment period and get your free Medicare benefits checkup today. Just call the toll-free number on your screen. It's free.
Free?
Yes, Martha. The call and no obligation Medicare benefits checkup is free. They can look up your plan options and let you know if you're eligible to enroll in a 2024 Medicare Advantage plan available in your zip code. Call now and we will see what plans may be best for you.
It's time for me to call and get my free, no obligation Medicare benefits review.
That's right, Martha. I should have just given you the toll-free number. It's on everyone's TV screen now. Call 800-882-0987. 800-882-0987.
Now, ADT professionally installs Google Nest products.
Cool. You're all set.
So your home is safe and smart.
I'm gonna miss you.
You can check in on your home,
Arm the system. We should go.
manage your system from virtually anywhere, and get intelligent alerts like when a package has arrived. When the most trusted name in home security adds the intelligence of Google, you have a home with no worries. Brought to you by ADT.
Stop! I am a good zombie!
This October, spirits come home to rest all month long
This place is really haunted.
What a weird mystery.
with Hollow Stream on Disney Plus.
We're gonna scare you. Boo.
Home is where the hunt is.
It's time.
When Lila was ready to sell her ring, she sent it to Worthy, where they took care of everything and auctioned it on her terms. Then, Worthy sent Lila her money. You're worthy of more. Get started at worthy.com.
After Homoglow cleaned our place for $19, we fired our old housekeeper. Homoglow tackled everything, from our kitchen to our bathroom, all our laundry. You just pick a date, pick a cleaner, and enjoy a spotless house for $19.
I'm Natasha Chen in Los Angeles, and this is CNN.
Mike Pence stood for the Constitution, and he deserves not grudging credit. He deserves our thanks as Americans for putting his oath of office and the Constitution of the United States before personal, political, and unfair pressure.
A surprise announcement from former Vice President Mike Pence yesterday, and another sign that at least for the GOP, at least at this moment, this is Trump's world and we're just living in it. For more, I'm joined by Republican presidential candidate Chris Christie, who you heard just there in a previous debate, praising Vice President Pence at a time that very few others on that stage were willing to do so. So, Governor Christie, just this week, House Republicans elected one of the top election deniers as House Speaker. Mike Pence dropped out of the race with low single-digit support and not a lot of financial support. Donald Trump is still in the polls, far and away the leader, but no one's voted yet. What does this say about the state of your party right now?
Well, look, with Mike Pence, I want to say that Mike, ran a tough race, a good race. It was very difficult for him. I think he made the right decision for he and his family to get out of the race. And look, I think in the end, it just means this race is narrowing, which everyone said that it would. Never goes as fast as some folks would like, but it is narrowing. It'll narrow more, I suspect, when we get to the debate stage in Miami. And I'm going to be ready to take on Donald Trump when people actually do start to vote in New Hampshire in particular.
Some other candidates, such as Senator Tim Scott, Governor Asa Hutchinson, are polling behind you nationally. Do you think the field needs to consolidate even more?
I think the field will consolidate, Jake. But it's not my place to tell people when to get out. The fact is that we've run a very aggressive campaign. We're the only campaign that's going right at Donald Trump from the day we got in and never varied. There's other people who want to have it both ways. They want to support him raise their hands, even if he's a convicted felon. On the other hand, they want to go after him, and every time they say, one little criticism, the national media gets all crazy. We have been consistent and strong, and that's the kind of leadership America needs right now. Someone who's a truth teller consistently every day.
Let's turn to the war in Israel. President Biden has proposed a $105 billion foreign aid package, which includes support to both Israel and Ukraine and some other priorities. Donald Trump said yesterday that Ukraine aid and Israel aid should be separate. It should be decoupled. What do you think?
Well, this is Donald Trump's, bad worldview. Look, he wants to do it and separate them because he wants to continue to coddle Putin, as he's done from the minute he became president of the United States, and then going forward from there. This aid is connected because these attacks are connected. There's no doubt that Russia, China, and Iran and North Korea are all working together to try to disrupt the world and create violence. We need to support Israel and support them strongly, and we need to support our friends in Ukraine as well. Remember, Jake, we made a promise to them in 1992 when they removed nuclear missiles and returned them to Russia that we would protect them if Russia attacked. We need to keep our promises.
Donald Trump tried to do some cleanup last night at the Republican Jewish Coalition conference in Las Vegas after he made comments criticizing Israel, criticizing Netanyahu, criticizing the defense minister, Gallant, praising Hezbollah. He blamed Netanyahu purportedly for failing to help with the Soleimani strike, although a lot of people interpreted it because as criticizing Netanyahu for congratulating Biden after he won the presidency. You were there last night. You made comments as well. Did you think that he did sufficient cleanup?
Look, the support that Donald Trump feels that the Republican Jewish Coalition is based upon things that he did when he was president, which he does deserve credit for. Moving the embassy to Jerusalem, the Abraham Accords are all things that were good things that he accomplished. But what he's done and what a second Trump presidency will look like will be much, much different. This is a guy who said, I will be your vindication. I will be, he will take vengeance against anyone who he thinks has done him wrong. And it's clear that he thinks that Benjamin Netanyahu has done him wrong, and that certain elements that support Israel have done him wrong politically. So I wouldn't count on anything from Donald Trump except for one thing, which you can always count on. He will lie to get himself ahead, and he will always put himself first before any interest, and certainly before our country and Israel.
One of the things about Donald Trump's approach to the Middle East was, in the Abraham Accords, he was focused, and Netanyahu was also, on what they call the outside-in approach, which is have Israel make peace with Bahrain and UAE and Saudi Arabia and others, and then after Israel had done that, then they could focus on peace with the Palestinians. That didn't work. Obviously, and Trump ignored the Israel-Palestinian peace process, as did obviously Netanyahu. As much as the Abraham Accords were a success, they weren't a success when it comes to ignoring the festering problem of peace between Israel and the Palestinians.
Well, Jake, I think they were steps in the right direction. But look, you're right in that Donald Trump never finishes what he started. He said he was going to build a wall across the entire border of the United States and Mexico. He built 52 miles of new wall in 4 years. He said he was going to balance the budget. He added $7.8 trillion in debt. And in the same way he said he was going to bring peace to the Middle East, he did not do that because he didn't finish the job, as you said. And so, look, if he couldn't do it in the first term with good people around him, imagine what he would do in a second term with the clowns and rogues gallery he would have around him in his second Trump term, because that's the only people that would actually work for him. And so we need to keep focused on one thing. Donald Trump is not going to be able to beat Joe Biden from a courtroom in Washington, D.C. while he's fighting his indictment on the January 6th case. And let me tell you, that indictment got much tougher for him to beat when his own chief of staff has now accepted immunity and will testify against him about the lies he told in the aftermath of January 6th and what he was told by his own people about the fact that he had lost the election. This is going to be a big problem for our party, and we need to cut it off at the pass, get rid of Donald Trump, and move on to honest, strong leadership that will tell the truth.
Governor Governor Chris Christie, thanks so much. Appreciate it. What exactly does the next stage of the war against Hamas look like, and what does it mean for the civilians trapped in Gaza? We're back in Tel Aviv in moments.
The new CNN prime time is where the truth shines. The day's biggest stories. The night's most essential reporting. This is the new CNN prime time. Weeknights starting at 7 on CNN. MLB chooses T-Mobile for Business with 5G.
Right on, Governor Christie about Donald Trump. A song by Paul Beckman, Paul the Rainbow Song, also the new and first leader of humankind in the free world, created October 29th, 2023. Right on, Governor Christie about Donald Trump. Right on, right on, right on, Governor Christie about Donald Trump. Right on, Governor Christie about Donald Trump. Yeah. Right on, Governor Christie about Donald Trump. Right on. Oh. Yeah, right on what you said. So true and important. Yeah. Right on what you said about Donald Trump, Governor Christie, the candidate for president of the United States of America, yourself, for the Republicans. Even though you've got only 2% of the vote so far, it seems. Donald Trump, what does he have? A whopping 2-digit majority. Somewhere last results I saw were, I don't know, 37%, 40-some%, 57%. Do not elect Donald Trump president of the United States of America again. If you do, he'll only have lackeys and yes men around him who will do everything he wants them to do, and he'll strip the Constitution until it's nothing, practically making himself dictator and Adolf Hitler in control of the United States of America. No way. Now, if I can help it, I'll create song after song, song after song after song, saying, don't elect Donald Trump. Look what Governor Christie said about him. Yeah, review this video and replay it over and over again until you got the truth. Donald Trump's nothing but a liar, a cheater, a cad. Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, you don't want to elect a crook for a president. Joe Biden, on the other hand, he's pretty good. He's shown he can do good. He is good. Elect him. Whoa. Ooh.